Okay, good morning and welcome to chapter 15 of The Living Marriage, Binyan Abayas. We are currently in section 3 of lesson 4. I just made it much simpler and called it chapter 15. This chapter is titled A New Look at Modesty. Based on the other first two chapters of this lesson, we're talking about Kedusha, holiness in the bedroom. We have to reevaluate the concept of modesty. We know that, especially for a Jewish woman, modesty is such an important trait. I've heard from a lot of people say that what Torah is for a man, Tzniyus is for a woman. Whether I agree with it or not, I'm not going to tell you. No, I'll tell you, I don't agree with it, but it's not the same thing. I don't think women should go crazy and be machmer and covering all parts of the body, especially the parts that are mutter according to the Torah to be uncovered. I don't think that's what modesty means. To make sure you eventually one day you're wearing a burqa, like some people in Mea Sharim. Um, what I want to say over here is that what the author. Let's first talk about the author says. The author says that obviously something I agree with. He says modesty. You can't look at modesty in the public realm when you're going out in the street and when you're in the bedroom. When you're in the bedroom, right? A woman has to take off her clothes, right? He brings the Gemara in Ksuvos. The Gemara says, if the man or the woman doesn't want to sleep naked, or at least be together naked, even sleeping naked, if one of them wants to be sleeping naked, they have to listen to them, and it's the grounds for you have to divorce the woman and give her a ksuba. If you're the man, you don't want to be naked. If the woman don't want to be naked, you could divorce without giving her a ksuba. She's responsible to take her clothes off in the bedroom. The Ritva says, even if you're doing this for Tzniyus, you want to wear your clothes, right? Because it's essential. It's considered moredes. You're a rebellious wife if you don't take off your clothes. It's not love. The normal way of the world is to not have Tzniyus in the bedroom. Um, Obviously, Tzniyus is very important, especially in the Haredi world, to cover as much as you can, not to attract men at all in the slightest when you're walking in public, but in the private realm, in the bedroom, you have to do what is necessary to attract your husband. He brings the Gemara we learned in the Gemara in Shabbos, which compares the breasts of a woman to pearls. Um, Her body is like jewelry, and he says she's like a queen or a king. She's like a queen that at certain times is supposed to show off the crown jewels, show off. She's saying he's talking about a woman, but he's comparing it to a king. A king sometimes he shows off the crown, right? They just had the FIFA World Cup. The World Cup trophy is not shown off too much. They basically hide it for most of the time. But when Argentina won yesterday, they did show it off. Apparently, it's worth $20 million. The FIFA World Cup trophy is made out of pure gold, which is interesting. I'd like to touch it if I could one day. But but things which are really valuable, you show off once in a while, like a king. And the once in a while is when it's fitting and the right time, and that's when they're in the bedroom together. That's the time to show it off, but only to her husband. He brings a story of a woman named Kimchis. The Gemara in Yuma talks about her. She was very tzanua. She had 7 children with Kohan and Dolim. She says, they asked her, how were you so successful in having such righteous children? She said, I was very tzanua. The walls of my house never saw my hair uncovered. They never saw any part of my body uncovered. Obviously, and the Gemara says, "Amrullah harba asukin lo ilu." What do you mean? What's so great about what you did? A lot of people are very firm, and they won't undress any part of their body unless they're completely covered in the bathroom under the covers. So it doesn't record an answer that she gave to them. Why was she successful and not? So he gives an answer based on Rosh Neir Cutler, who says that normally when a woman is so sanua, she can't go the opposite when she's supposed to. In the bedroom with her husband, she's supposed to take off her clothes. She's supposed to be not sanua. Like I explained earlier about the mashal with the rooster and the chicken. He makes fun of, he's flirting with the wife, with the hen. He's saying, you want a long dress in the bedroom? Is that what you want, a maxi? So he said she was unbelievable that she was, on the one hand, when it wasn't the right time for Tashmish Hamita, she basically was able to be extremely sanua, but when it came to the bedroom with her husband, she knew how to take her clothes off. She knew how to not be sanua. So, And most of the ladies who were Tsanua, they couldn't carry it over. And this is really true, right? Whatever hairgel, whatever you become accustomed to, even if you know in your mind that this is not the right time, but it's just hairgel, right? Habituation in our lives, whatever we're accustomed to, is just going to carry over naturally. Obviously, we're gonna be less sanua in the bedroom because intellectually you're supposed to, but it's going to carry over. And I'm sure there's a lot of women, especially among the ultra orthodox, who maybe even their husbands. I've heard stories about husbands asking their wives not to take off. The woman want to take off their clothes, and the husband doesn't want the woman to take off to uncover a certain part of her body because he'll be too turned on. This is a true story I heard. Um, so people, she was able to balance it to know the right time for this right time. Most people can't do it. That's why they weren't successful. Um, Now, I agree with basically what he's saying over here. Um, Obviously, I don't think the idea of kimchis is a good idea. Like they said to kimchis, it's not going to help for most people because most people, if you tell them to be so sanua, so exacting, and wearing the burqa in the street, it's going to be very hard to not wear anything in the bedroom. It's going to be almost impossible. So it's not a good idea. It's not a good. She was able to do it. She was an unbelievable woman, apparently. But for most people, it's not the right way, and therefore you shouldn't do it. So I agree mostly with this chapter. And again, now I disagree with how sanua a woman should be when she walks down the street. I think it's okay to dress up to go out in the street. I don't think women should go around wearing a snood in the street. Tichel is okay. It looks okay. A snood in the street looks like, a nebuch case. Like you're going out to a public street. You're going out to the geula like that. It looks terrible. Either wear a sheitel or wear a tichel. And you should look distinguished in the street. A woman, called Kuda Bas Melech Nima, all her honor is to be inside. But it doesn't mean she doesn't go outside. Some people take it literally, she's not allowed to go out of the house. But she's going to go out of the house, and she should look put together out of the house for her own dignity. Her own dignity, she should look for herself. She should look good, because when you look good, you feel good. And we shouldn't ignore people's feelings. And that's why a lot of women don't dress modestly, because it makes them feel good to look attractive. Now, some women are just, they just don't like wearing clothes. They wear very little clothes, and they don't even look attractive. They wear, jeans or something like that, or they wear, they dress in a way that's like a punk or something like that, and they color their hair like green. They don't look good, but I think anything you do to make yourself look good in public is very important to the self-worth of the woman. Um, Obviously, in the house, I think she should be more relaxed. People say it's the opposite. In the house, when your husband comes home from yeshiva, you got to put on makeup and things like that. No, no, no. Have a normal relationship with your husband. You can wear a snood in the house if you want. When you're supposed to put on makeup, when you're supposed to dress up, is when you're going to be together in the bedroom. Then it excites the man. You should do that, but not when you're walking around the house in the living room. You can dress down, but you should be dressing up when you go outside. So I don't agree with the emphasis in Haredi society so much on the Tzniyus on the outside when you go outside the house. I think it's important for the self-worth of the woman. And also, the husband, when he goes outside, he sees his wife who looks good. She doesn't have to look provocative, but she should look good. And looking good is always going to be looking a little provocative, because women, if they dress well, they're going to, you'll see parts of their body. Hashem made it that way, that parts of their body stick out. Their hips, their breasts, these things stick out. And if you're just going to hide, you're going to wear baggy clothes, you're not going to look good. You're not going to feel good. And that's not what God wants. God wants you to dress in a nice way. He didn't mean that the men, you shouldn't go out to the public sphere, so you're going to trip up men. You have to, Hanig behen derech eretz, the Torah always says, act the way of the world, be normal, and dress nicely. Obviously, parts of your body are going to be shown off. But, that's part of the world. Beautiful women walk around in the streets. To walk around like a harlot, so that's something else. But to walk around in a nice way. Modesty means to dress nicely. That's really what it means. A lot of people, even for a man, dressing modestly, like when you wear very colorful clothes, doesn't look good, both for a man and a woman. When you wear extremely colorful clothes, when you wear, more modestly colored clothes, that really accentuates the beauty of the woman, the physical body of the woman, and the physical attributes of the man. So if you want to dress well, both for a man and a woman should have a little more color than men, but Dressing modestly is, I think, more in terms of the colors of your clothing. It should be more modest, more toned down. When you wear, black clothing, a lot of people wear. I don't think I should always wear black clothing. I'm wearing a black jacket over here, but I have colorful sweaters that I wear. Not bright colors, but nice colors like a burgundy sweater or a gray sweater or navy blue, or I have like a brighter blue sweater that I wear, bluish green. They're nice colors, but they're not outlandish. Sometimes you have sweaters that men wear with like rainbow sweaters or different colors. It looks funny, and even when women walk out these floral dresses with like 100 colors, it doesn't look nice. When you dress modestly, basic colors, navy blue, gray, black, a little bit of red. I don't know why red is usher for a woman to wear. These are basic colors that you wear, not white and black, but mix it up. You could have a little green in there. Have a little burgundy. There's nice ways to dress modestly. It means to dress nicely. That's what Tzniyus means. To dress modestly means to dress nicely. That's what it means, to accentuate your beauty, accentuate the beauty of your body by dressing in a modest way, modest colors, not covering every part of your body, even your fingers. You'll see soon people walking the streets with gloves on. Um, so the only thing in principle I argue about is the end of this chapter, and this is one of my pet peeves with this book already. He says, he quotes from the Maharal, that you have to be very careful. That even though tznius obviously is something that should not be emphasized in the bedroom, um, he says we already learned the kedusha of intimacy to include separating from those things which will disturb the couple's inner union. Tznius and intimacy protects the couple from pursuing physicality as a goal in itself, which will transform what is potentially one of the most holy activities into an act of raw physicality, which is far from the pure intentions of the Torah. We learn from Rav Schneier that the greatness of an action is often judged by its ability to unify seemingly opposing forces. Proper intimacy brings a couple to one of the most uplifted states that is possible to obtain in this world, and at the same time, its greatness requires them to use their judgment properly, to distinguish between the potentially fine line of using physicality as a means to achieve proper physical unity and the negativity of pursuing the physicality as an end in itself. And he said a little earlier, therefore, intimacy also requires a second aspect of tznius in order to protect the couple from involvement with activities which could threaten their inner holy union. To the extent that intimacy is twisted into a pursuit of physicality for its own sake, it will uproot any unity which they may have achieved. This aspect of tznius is emphasized from the Maharal in his explanation of sanctifying oneself at the time of marital relations. The Maharal says, I'll read the translation, one who sanctifies himself at the time of marital relations for this activity is raw physicality when it is not performed with holiness. And if he sanctifies himself with tznius, then it is not considered raw physicality, for the tznius is kedusha. So he says over here, although tznius is really supposed to be for the public, it's supposed to be tzanua. In the bedroom, you're not supposed to be tzanua, but there is tznius, the second aspect of tznius, in the bedroom. This bothers me of a lot of things in the society I live in. Somehow balancing, like there's this recognition like we have to be normal. We can't be like those people in Mea Shearim, the cults, the Leif Torah cults, that completely, do crazy things. But on the other hand, we can't enjoy the world, or we have to minimize our enjoyment as much as possible, because God wouldn't want us to enjoy this world as much as possible, because that's taiva, right? Familiar with yeshivas and Musar Svarim, it's full of these words, and they're echoed in yeshivas, and they're also taught by the same rebbeim in seminaries to these girls. Now, girls, just gloss over them because their whole life is physicality, so they never try to mitigate their physicality. But men who learn seriously in yeshiva always try to mitigate their physicality and believe physicality is a terrible thing, despite the fact the author keeps on trying to reiterate that Kedusha is really enjoying the physical world. But he keeps on bringing this up that really it's not really enjoying the physical world. It's that the whole purpose of Tashmish Hamita being together is to make a union between the couple, the highest form of union in the couple, not the physicality. I don't think it's possible. I mean, if God really wanted that there should be unity between the husband and wife, and like he explains that a man should tap into the female part of himself, and the female should tap into the male part of herself, and they become a whole person, and the Shekhinah is Shora on a unified couple like that. And that's the greatest expression of unification, is when they're in the bedroom and they're together. Why did God create such an excitement physically that it's the most desired and physically uh, uh, pleasurable activity in the world. Everybody knows this, the pleasure that's available in the bedroom. Um, it's the most sought after thing in the world. It's more sought after than money, right? If you ask people, what would you rather have? Would you have a lot of money or a lot of tashba shamita? People will say tashba shamita because it's more valuable to people. It's the most valuable thing in the world, and it's valuable because it's enjoyable. That's why we don't have to be rocket scientists over here. So if God really just wanted a couple to unify, and that was the whole mitzvah of being married and being together, he didn't have to plant this tremendous physical enjoyment over here. Nice, you'll say what? He planted the physical enjoyment so that people should have a desire to procreate? Okay, that's a nice thing. So that's the whole purpose. So, but he said before, the purpose of getting married is not to procreate. So what's the whole purpose of marriage? He could have just made another mitzvah in the Torah. There's no enjoyment in being together. But get married and unify in the bedroom. Connect your bodies together. Could be there's no physical pleasure. I could have made it. There's no physical enjoyment with it. But it's a mitzvah, like any other mitzvah in the Torah. You put on tefillin. You enjoy putting on tefillin? Does it make you happy? No, you do it because God commands you to do it. Looks kind of funny to put on tefillin. It hurts you to put on tefillin. It's annoying to put on tefillin sometimes. But you do it because that's God's will, and we paskin like Rav. Mitzvahs lav la'anos, they're not meant to be enjoyed. We do them because it's Gzeras HaMelech. Make it also here Gzeras HaMelech. Make it over here, unify as a couple, experience shlemus as a person, as a couple, bring the Shekhinah into your home, be together. And there's no physical enjoyment. And be mafias the woman. A woman maybe emotionally is not ready for this, for that. But do it anyway, and like a mitzvah in the Torah. But no, God didn't do it like that. God made it as the most physically enjoyable thing in the world. And to say that we should do this union in a way that emphasizes only the union, and you saying physicality is a bad thing, which to me it sounds like Christian theology. It really does. And as part of the Musar Farm are doing this to the author, I think over here. That's pure. Even Oral says this. Physicality is a bad thing. I mean, come on. That's the whole point of this. That's what Kedusha is. Don't get so fancy over here and start, making chilukim over here and making a brisker Rav or a Rav Chaim brisker Chakira over here. Yes, union, yes. Physical union, yes. Physicality, enjoyment, no. No, no. The whole point over here is to enjoy over here. And yes, in the bedroom, there's no place for tznius. It's not outside. There's a place for complete tznius. In the bedroom, partial tznius. So what are you gonna tell the lady? Tell the lady, only, only wear certain types of clothes in the bedroom. Not make them a little attractive, but not a lot attractive, or things like that. Be very serious in the bedroom because according to Maral, and based on what the story from Kimchis, right, that a lot of women who were very firm outside couldn't bring it into the bedroom. Right? You're not going to do certain things in the bedroom. You're not going to take a shower together. You're not going to take a bath together. You're not going to dance naked together. You're not going to play strip poker, right? These are things which add to the enjoyment because chas v'shalom, it's tznius, it's frivolity, frivolous to do these things. Just be together, do pious, right? Speak to her a little bit about her day, then give her a kiss, give her a hug, and say, now let's be together. Okay, you did your union over there. You didn't enjoy it too much. You made sure to have tznius in the bedroom. No. Tznius is a no-no in the bedroom completely. Don't say it goes heavy. And he tried to say, so how do you balance it? How much tznius in the bedroom do you need? He mentioned that early in the chapter. He says, I'm going to talk about it later. But he said basically the way of assessing is how much the couples should communicate together, how much they need, how much they don't need. No. This is not the way. This is the wrong way. This is the Christian way. You might get cute and say it's not the Christian way. It's a mixture. It's somewhere balanced between Christianity and complete, Hellenism. We're talking about Hanukkah, Hellenism, and just being involved in the physical. No, the mitzvah is to enjoy the physicality. That is the mitzvah, both for the man and the woman. Don't get cute over here and tell me about there's one type of tznius in the street, and then it's a different, more nuanced tznius in the bedroom. No, there's no tznius in the bedroom. Don't be senu at all in the bedroom, and have a good time in the bedroom. And you can do different things while you're naked. I'm not going to get into. I mentioned a couple of ideas But those are things which are basic essentials to a marriage, because you have to spice it up in the bedroom, especially in a monogamous relationship. You only have one woman for your entire life. If you want to enjoy it, right, it's essential for a man, and for a woman also, it makes it more enjoyable if you spice it up, do different things. There is no place for tznius in the bedroom. Any even a little bit of tznius is the wrong hashkafa, I believe. That's my opinion. That's why I give this lecture series. I give you a basis for someone else's opinion, and I give my own opinion. Hope you enjoyed today's lecture. See you in the next one.